What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Voodoo Monkey Garage. We appreciate you guys very much. We really do. So I just want to first start off by saying thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being on here. Thank you for your comments, even if they are strange and uninformed. We appreciate them. They make us fun. Anywho, today we're working on this. I believe, if I recall, it's a 2014 Subaru Outback Steakhouse edition. No. Locked up the engine on it. Well, I didn't. Giselle did. And she locked up our engine on this thing. The lifts just aren't tall enough, you know? Anywho, we're going to swap an engine on it. And I've seen a lot of different ways of doing this. I've seen other people doing them. And some say you got to cut the car in half. And some say you just, pull a pin and it all comes out. So it seems like there's 4,000 ways of doing this. I went ahead and pressure washed everything because it was an oily disaster, and it still kind of is. So we're going to, I know we have to pull the exhaust, right? So Subaru makes their engines in a flat format. They're not in a V. They're not in a big, dink. They're like a Volkswagen. So it's really easy to get the exhaust. However, it's in the way. And for me, we're going to pull the 3 manifold bolts, and then I'm going to pull it all the way back there, and I'm just going to take this entire section out. I just find that's the best way because, well, it gets all of it out of the way. It's less stuff to bang your head on, and if you got to do stuff with the trans and everything, you don't have to worry about that being in the way. So we're going to go ahead and pull this out, and then I'm going to get the pressure washer up in here again, and I'm going to clean some more. I find that these vehicles come apart a lot better when they're clean. And I'm a lot happier when things are clean because the whole mittens don't get so dirty. But check it out. We've already got another engine for it over here. So I'll tell you guys this, one of the handy dandy things is if you can get your engine ahead of time, yes, they charge a core charge. If you're going to be doing this a lot, make friends with your junkyard, right? We use I-17 recyclers up the road. Chris has been a friend of mine and Andy for a while. And he says, don't worry about the core, man. Just bring it back when you're done and when you're ready. So you build that relationship. Hi, trash man. You build that relationship. A lot of times they'll hook you up and they don't charge you the core. The nice thing about having the engine here is they yanked it out. Now they're not going to be as careful as we're going to be. They're going to be cutting wires and lines. They're just trying to get it out of the hole. But it's always nice to have the parts ahead of time because it shows you where your bell housing bolts and pins and all this stuff that aren't connected and are connected. It'll show you all that stuff. Secondly, if you look, Subaru does a good job and they give us a complete engine harness separate to the engine. Unlike the Chevys and the Fords where you got to unplug everything and fold it up out of the way. Most of the stuff is right here on the block. It's happy, it's in its home. Unplug the one guy and mum's the word, away you go. And unlike Ford, like that last one we did, they actually give us little hooks here for pulling the engines. I don't know if they're thinking ahead and thinking of mechanics or if they just know their engines suck and they're going to be pulled out. Either way, we appreciate it. So you can scope your eyes on that and see what you're going to have to do up there. And we're going to get to work. I've talked long enough, but I've shown you enough of what you need to see. So hopefully that was valuable information. If not, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to pull the exhaust, get the pressure washing, and we'll try and bring you guys along for as much of the stuff as we can. Right on? Cool. I guess you want to know what I'm doing and why. All right. Well, I just drained the oil, and it wasn't pretty. It was there, but it was black and shiny. Not what you want in your oil. So I'm going to drop the oil pan because this engine is locked up. So I'm going to see if potentially, just maybe, there's something that we can see in there that'll let me get this freed up so I don't have to pull the torque converter. Oh, sweat's getting in my eyes. So I don't have to pull the torque converter with everything. We're going to see. Someone silicone the living piss out of us. Now, I know. You're gonna bend it and it's never gonna seal. I don't care. What did I just tell you? The engine's locked up. Do you think I care if the oil pan gets bent? The answer is no. How about no? I'll leave that there, balanced precariously on the lift. Just stop. Stay. I want all my bolts here because I'm going to put the oil pan back on after I'm done with inspection here. And well, you guys get to see it before I do. I don't know what, if anything, we're going to be able to see. But yeah, she's well, there's that. And you guys can't feel it, but it's like poking me in the fingers. And it's, I mean, it's a lot. I don't think, last I checked, that it's a good idea to have that kind of stuff in your engine. But I also don't think in their design that there's much I can do. We're gonna see if there's anything I can do to get this engine to free up without dripping oil all in my face. I haven't even started pulling anything yet, okay? So this is like step one for me, because I know I have put a bar on the engine. I've pressure washed the living piss out of this car. I'm talking like, we went to town pressure washing this car. She parks in the dirt. She drives it. Yeah, look at this metal flake on here. Don't think that's good for the engine. Just saying. When it looks like a glitter fart went off in your car's belly, it's well, it's not good. Okay, let's just put it that way. It's not good. So somebody must have been chasing unicorns in this thing, because it's full of glitter farts. I'm gonna put a bar and see if I can't get this thing to loosen up, because if we can get the engine just to rotate even a little bit here and there, oh man, that would save my life. Now I can see one of them there and I can see one of them there, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to get to anything. So let me play around with this a little bit. So basically what I'm gonna try to do while I'm down here is get everything done that needs to be done from down here, down under. So if I can get all the down under stuff done, and I'm talking like drain coolant. Oh, by the way, I pulled these wires. These are your ground. Right here. There's one right there. See that bolt? 10 millimeter. And that goes right there. Pull it, or you're gonna have a fun time when you're going to pull this out of the car. And there's another one right there on the opposite side. It's got a twinsy. See? I already pulled them. Boop. And if you notice, I put the bolts back, because that's what we do, you know? Remember your parents telling you, when you take something out, put it back. Treat your car the same way. And then it'll go together a lot more better. Even though this engine's not going back in, that one is. And if I need something off of this, it's where it belongs. Huh. All right, okay, crank. That's our cranky. Okay, up in here we have a rod. I should be somewhere near it because I can't see what I'm doing. But up here we have our rod, our connecting rod. And if you look alongside of it, it's a little melty poo. It looks like it's, you know, welded itself to the crank. Now there's oil and schmutz all over my stuff. But Subaru looks like decided to leave a pretty good bead along there. Somehow, some reason, this was not getting oil up in there. And it looks like it just melted the piss out of it. I don't know if we're getting that free, guys. So we're gonna start taking the steps necessary to rip this pig out of here and just unbolt everything we can and hopefully get something out of here. But I'm gonna put the pan back on because I don't see any way to help from down here, down under, and start yanking some stuff out. We'll show you some of the processes that we know and a couple of them that we have no clue, because I've never done one of these before. But it's just a big Lego set. That's all it is, you know. 16 bags of Legos and eventually you're done. Yeah, we're gonna drain some coolant. We'll tell you if anything fun happens. All right, for those of you that are subscribed to the channel, you hear me say this every time. And literally, Drew just said, "What, you're going to show them you removing another battery?" Yes, because there's a lot of you that are going, "How do I do this?" And you don't subscribe to our channel. Why not? I don't know. You should be. Do it anyways. So let's take a pause. We'll wait. Subscribe. Cool. We're back. So now, what I want you to see is we are removing the battery. Some of you are going to go, did you do it? Yes, see? It's right here. What are we removing first? The ground side. Remove the SAD cable from the battery, okay? They're a 10 millimeter. If you still have your factory ones on there, a little 10 millimeter guy, loosen her up. Okay, then you can come over here and it doesn't matter what you touch. And we can loosen this one, maybe, if it'll let me get to it. Well, I guess I'll have to go get a wrench now, won't I? Because it won't fit. But we'll remove the battery. For me, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take it all the way out. Okay, why? Because I wanna, that's why. And mostly because I don't want it in my way. That's the main reason, honestly. And I feel like it's gonna be in my way. So we're just gonna remove it. J-hooks and all, apparently. And I'm gonna take it completely out of there. I'm gonna take the battery box completely out of there because it just, you know, it frees up room to get down to things on the side if we need to. Again, I haven't done one of these engines before, but you know, if you have, then you're much, you know, more educated on these than I am. But I have not done one of these specific engines. But I can tell you this, they're all pretty much the same in nuts and bolts, right? These ones, you know, they got other hidden things and nice features. But, you know, the more you can get stuff out of your way, the happier you're going to be. Oh, we're not putting that there because we got to get to our engine hoist. Found a dirty spot. All right. Pull this bolt off right here on this plastic cover, if yours still has it, and then just pop it right off. There's a little rubber grommet that little titty sits in. Okay. And yes, it's a little, like, that's what I call them all, okay? Don't be offended. What if you are? I'm really, just be offended. Whatever. I know I said I was going to pull everything out from underneath at first, but then I realized I hadn't disconnected the battery, so we came up here and did this. Subaru does things kind of cool, and some things kind of not. But the one thing they do kind of cool is they isolate the harnesses in a way. So while I'm up here and I've got everything disconnected, I can see right now that our battery harness goes into our main fuse panel, our fuse block. I know everything here is free. Like, there's no charge. Get it? Free, no charge, free of charge. There's no, anyways. That all connects to the alternator. I can follow that harness and see this big conglomerate of blobbery goes into that. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect here, which it's got a little 10 millimeter bracket right off the oil filter area, or 10 millimeter bolt that connects to that bracket. So we can put that and take it apart. And then there's gonna be a little clippy doodad here, this guy right there. And we'll just open that up. I'll get my little pick here in a minute and we'll open that up. I think I need a pick for that, if I recall, from what, you know, I know about cars. So we'll get that pulled apart. And then this guy here, we'll unplug. We'll unplug the guy right here off the alternator. And we'll unplug this guy right here off this dealio, which should be, I think, a 12 if I remember right. And we'll probably have to unplug this guy right down on here too. So we'll get a couple of these guys unplugged and I'll show you what we're gonna do. We'll flop the harness out of the way. So maybe I'll work on some stuff up here for just a minute and get some stuff undone. Start unhooking things up here. We are going to end up taking the AC compressor. We're gonna attempt to make sure that we don't release any of the Freon if we can. So I'm gonna take this guy, I'm just gonna flop it out of the way. Same thing with the power steering pump. I'm gonna try and flop that out of the way, which means I'm gonna take all this intake off, including this guy here, because we're gonna need to get the radiator and fan out for sure. And that looks like it's hidden a bunch underneath a bunch of these little clippy doodabbies. So we'll get all those pulled off, but you'll see that here in a second as we start just yanking and pulling and just going to town. So clip here, bolt there, clip here, clip here. All these connectors will get undone. Open that guy up, get your harness out of the way. If you're a guy that's going to be doing this over the course of the next 3 weeks, and taking your sweet time, or you're just not 100% confident in yourself, that's okay. I'm proud of you for tackling it. But do us all a favor, including yourself mostly. Take a couple pictures at this point. You got the plastic craps out of the way, so take a picture of it. That way you can see, oh, this harness ran underneath, because when you go back a week later and you flop your AC compressor back over, and you try to lay this harness over the top and you got this metal clamp, you're going, what the heck, man? You can have a picture to remind you of where things like to take a nap and where they rest peacefully. Forever and ever, hopefully, amen. So do yourself a favor and do that. I'm also going to take the serpentine belt off, so when you come back, you'll see a lot of that stuff. I don't know, Drew, if you want to film it, you can. I don't really care. All right, I'm going to show you guys this, and I'm only showing you once, dang it. This guy right here, there's a little lifty off, so if you see, there's a little tab right there, so you'll just come underneath of the pick. You can push there. Mine wasn't pushing very well, so I came from on top, and I just pulled this out of the way, and I actually put a flathead screwdriver underneath here, and I just twisted it, and that opened that up. Okay, and then this guy right here, it's got little teeth underneath here, so you can literally just lift up on the little teeth right there and slide that guy open, and that should allow for all this to come off once I take that 12 millimeter. Oh, look at that. Once we take this 12 millimeter off, this is why you disconnect your battery, right? Because otherwise we would have just made some arky sparkies. And then that guy just kind of wiggles off of there. Don't lose your washer. And then this guy gives us access to down here, or girl, I don't know what they are. I'll put that washer back on and that nut right back on there, just so we don't lose it. We'll set that 10 millimeter there so we do lose it. And this guy's just a standard little dealio that we're gonna just pop off of here. Okay. A lot of times what I like to do on these connectors is I'll just go between this little lip here where it's held on and then the lip here of the connector, and I just put my screwdriver behind there and I give it a little twist. Not hard. While I'm pushing down on that tang, I'll give it a little twist. Especially out here in Arizona, they like to get heat locked on there. So we're gonna slide all this harness just out of the way. See why we have our battery gone? Doesn't that make that nice and easy? Oh, I think so. All right, we're gonna get this belt off of here. You brought the 12 millimeter wrench. I think I need a 14 on that guy. And we're gonna loosen the tensioner, which is right down here. This is our tensioner pulley. We'll get a wrench on there. We'll just back it off and we'll pull the belt off. We'll replace that when we get the new engine in here. And then we're gonna go to town, start pulling this upper bracket right here. We'll get this guy out of our way, and that should give us access to the 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, holding the AC compressor on. We'll get that loosened up and we'll get that moved out of the way. And don't open these lines if you don't have to. Just don't, okay? Trust me. If you can get away without having to recharge the system, that'd be nice. Looks to me like we're gonna have to loosen the bolt on the alternator too, because this little tinky E bracket goes from right here to the top of the AC compressor, and it shares that mounting bolt. So we'll loosen that guy, we'll pull this bolt completely out, and we'll just flop that bracket over out of our way. So a couple bolts hold this guy on. Looks like a 14 right down here and a 10 right here, and that should get this bracket. Oh, that's a 12 socket. And that should get this bracket out of our way. And then we'll pull that off. I just think we'll get a couple more sockets. Wow. Should have got a Milwaukee. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? We'll take this bolt that we took out, and it goes right there. That way we don't lose where all these things go, because we're going to have a handful of bolts out, guys. We definitely are. 12. I'm just going to loosen that one. These are probably going to need a little help from some muscle. I always find that AC compressor bolts seem to always just bury themselves, get locked in. That's the heat of the compressor. What it is. If I can get them with an impact, I prefer so they don't break. But oh, are you gonna give me access to that one? Maybe not. We might not be able to. We might need a wrench for that one. Let's see what happens. We'll have to get a wrench for that one. Get down on that last bolt. But we'll go and get these ones off. It'll still be held down, and then we'll get the belt off. So this guy can come all the way out, and that gets out of the way. And that bracket will just stay on here. And we're almost there. Just gotta get that one out. And it's, you know, I don't think I want to bend that line, so it's barely just in the way. So we'll get a wrench on there just so we do it proper like and don't create a leak later. And then I'm gonna get my longer 14 for that guy so we can get it out of the way. I'll set this up here on the hood. Where the hood at? And start pulling some more of this apart. Obviously the alternator's got to come off. And I think to do that we got to pull this front pulley off because there's a bolt back here that holds that alternator on, and then two up here. And we'll be able to take that guy out of here too. Tensioner bolt is a 15. Put it on that bolt right there, right on the tensioner pulley. Push it towards the drinker side. No drinking on the driving. So push it towards the driver's side. That'll loosen our belt all the way up. Allow us to get that thing off of there. We'll worry about the routing later. Oh boy, it's wrapped all around everything, like every serpentine belt. There we go, and she's gone. Oh, got it. Yes, perfect. And then get this guy off here, this pulley. This one's also a 14. This is your idler pulley here. We don't want to pull that guy out. Get it out of the way. We can probably pull this upper hose out of our way and give ourselves a little bit of room. And probably if we were to pull the fan and everything, it'd give us more room. And then we can work on everything. You know, I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna get all this other stuff out of the way. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here because I'm getting all excited. So we're gonna pull the air box off, and I think I'm gonna get this radiator out of here. Get that out of my way. That's probably the next thing for us to do. Probably the smart thing, you know? We'll show you guys that. We pulled the little snorkel off while you guys weren't looking. And got that out of my way. And then I think we're gonna pull the fan. I don't know if I can pull the radiator with the fan, probably. But we just got a couple little connectors for the fan. Just look around, find your electrical guys. Should be one on either fan. Pull those off. There's gonna be one down here. We gotta get to. It doesn't seem to want to come out. There we go. There's one. I think there's one on this side somewhere. So we're gonna get this guy out of our way. That just kind of pushes here. So to get this reservoir out, you're gonna take your line off. And then there's a little plastic tabby guy here. We're gonna push back on that. That should allow that to just slide right out. And that'll bring our little reservoir out. We'll set that off to the side. And that gives us access to that 10 mil and that 10 mil, that 10 mil, that 10 mil, and we'll pull the fan off. Can we pull this all out without, probably with the radiator and everything? Sure we could, but I'm not gonna, because it just seems like it's easier to get this out like that. You know? Doesn't that seem easier than trying to mess with everything else? Now, can you do this with the radiator in here? Yes, you can. If you can get your torque converter bolts off. We've already made it abundantly clear that we're probably not going to be able to do that. So, instead of even worrying about it, we're just going to take this all apart. Set these right there for a second. We'll get this fan lifted up so we can get to the connector. And we'll get that guy unplugged. There we go. All right. Now what's holding you on? Is there another transmission line hooked to you? There is. There we go. Now, easy way to remember which one goes back where. This one's got mounts for the transmission lines. Your transmission line, one will sit there, the other one will sit right there. And that'll help you remember which fan goes on which side when you go back together. All right, is that gonna let me take this out, or is that all connected to this? I'm gonna take all of this off. I don't want to. I was really hoping I wouldn't have to take that out, but this looks like I have to. All right, that gives me room for that. Perfect. Cool. Which gives us then room for these. Cool. Look at that. Get some. I'll put these right back here so we don't lose them. I'll just set them off to the side. They'll be out of our way. These do have little lockers on them so that they will sit in when you lock them in. They'll actually sit into a spot where they go. But we can rotate them for a little bit. Just get them out of our way. And then what we'll need to do is disconnect our transmission lines down there. So we got one here and one here. What I'm going to do is find a bolt to put in there, so when I unplug these, I could jam a bolt in there, and that'll keep them from leaking everywhere. And we'll let them just dangle. You got one long one short one, so you can't really misplace them. And we'll get that lower hose off. Looks like somebody did something down here and they left the old clamp on. Just kidding. Ha! That was me. I took the old clamp off. So we'll get this lower hose, radiator hose off. We'll get these two lines off. And for the transmission, I'll jam a bolt in both of those. We'll clamp them back on. They'll be sealed for the moment. And we'll get this radiator out of our way. It's not a lot of clearance, but I think it's enough to maybe get us past, just maybe, get us past the torque converter. That gives us a good amount of space. We might even have enough space now, but I'd rather not ding up the radiator trying, you know? So for a couple bolts, some good insurance, we'll do that. Should allow this guy to come out. There we go. All right, there's the alternator. Can let me on it. What I'm trying to do is pull this off with the bracket. Everything is just on there. Well, that looks like it got all wobbly. All right, this should pull all that. Yep. So, made a bolt here, a bolt back here, and one that goes to the front here, and one down underneath over there, and that'll give us our tensioner and everything all at one time, which allows us to get our power steering pump up out of the way. And then we got one little guy plugged in back here for some sort of a sensor. There we go. Whew. Back's going out. All right, we'll get that air box out of the way here in a second. I just want to put some of these bolts back where they go, so we know where they all sat. But man, this will make it nice because we don't have to drain everything, doesn't it? I think so. We'll get the air cleaner out of the way. You guys should be able to handle that. Just feel around, see if there's any hoses, anything connected. I know there's one down underneath here that's connected. that we'll have to get off, but we'll probably be able to see that once we get this off of here. Should just be a little 8 mil. I don't know where I put my nut driver. Drew's got in his pocket. And that should get us out of the trouble. Slightly. Get that guy loosened up. Let's see what happens here. What we got hooked up to it. I know we got a couple things down under. Got one back here. There we go. I knew there was something. Had to be. Couldn't be just easy enough to take off, could it? Can't make these things too easy on us. Then they'd be afraid that we'd work on the stuff, you know? Look at that. Looks like we were sucking in some unwanted things. Somebody put that back on wrong. Whoops-a-daisers. All right, to remove this guy, you've got a bolt right here that's sticking through. So it's just got a nut on it on the inside of the airbox. And you got a bolt right down here. Pull that guy loose. That should allow all this to come up out of the hole. Should allow all this to, should allow. Really? What the heck is in the way? There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, should allow all that to come out of there. I'll leave the bolt right in that guy. Actually, you know what? We're going to take it out so it doesn't fall off when people are moving stuff around. I'm going to put it right there so we can scratch our arm on it later. That little guy that we unplugged earlier, it's going to sit down here out of the way. Would you look at that? Now, a lot of the stuff that I've looked at on this car when I was researching on how to do this thing was telling me that I need to remove the upper intake. I just don't think I do. The main reason I don't think I do is because the engine I have has the intake attached to it. I know we've got connectors and stuff back here that got to be released and some other fun stuff, but I just don't think we're gonna have to remove all this. I think we just got to unplug all of these guys back here and back here. This guy, Drew, if you'll hand me that flathead over there. This guy here just kind of comes up, and then as you lift back, it should pull out on that cannon plug, and it should release everything. Oh, we gotta take that undone. Okay, the little holder downer guy, it's gotta come undone somehow. There we go. I'll free that up. Should get this guy to come out. Perfect. And this guy's got to unplug. He wants to just come off the bracket? No? Okay. Same thing here. We got a little holdy down. Give a little, just light twist. All I did is push down on that tab and give a little light twist, and it popped right out. Okay? That's going to get that guy out of our way as well. All this harness is going to stay on here. So really, we got some fuel lines, a starter, a couple things to disconnect over there. We should be getting pretty close to pulling this out of here. Not too far away. Not too far away. All right, fuel line. Pretty easy to get off. You can use a pick or you can use a fuel line tool. But if you look on the fuel line, there's these little tangs right here. See those two little notches? 90 degrees from that, if you look down inside, there's a little wing right there and a little wing right there. That's all you got to do is push back on those and it'll pop right off. Watch and make sure you got your pressure released before you do that. We should be able to get a return line off. There's our two fuel lines out of the way. I did, you'll see, end up releasing all of the Freon out of our AC. I had to. That one bolt that I was trying to get to was being stubborn, and it was stripping out. I didn't want to spin the head off of it, so we didn't. We just went ahead and released the Freon. We'll recharge the system when we're done here. But it was unfortunate. I was hoping to save it, but we ended up having to pull the Freon out of the system. That's all right. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, you know? and keep plugging away. And so we did what we had to do, and now we're plugging away. Vacuum line that goes to your brake booster right here on top. Pull that clamp off, same thing, just get it off there, and we'll get this line to come free. Like I said, ours are a little stuck on there, so we'll just get everything kind of folded up and out of the way. That'll give us access to everything back here. We'll need to pull the couple lines off the starter, the ground cable, the power, the igniter. We'll get all that pulled off. We'll get our starter pulled out, and we shouldn't be far away from yanking this thing out of here. Torque converter bolts are going to be fun if we can get to them. The way they want you to access the torque converter bolts is through that starter housing. So if you have rotationals on your engine, you got to pull your starter to get to your torque converter bolts. There's only 4 of them on here, but you'll see that later. We're gonna have fun trying to get that off of here, because if this thing won't rotate, which I just don't think it will, it's welded, right? So you can see it, but we'll figure it out. Once we get all that done, we'll go start pulling all the bell housing bolts. We'll take off this front motor mount, and I think the 2 side ones we'll pull. I think we can actually pull those from up here. We'll have to pull the heater hoses. We got a heater core right here. Those 2 heater lines run right down to here, so we'll get this electronicals out of the way from the starter. We'll get down to these 2 heater hoses here. We'll pop them off, and we'll just start pulling bell housing bolts and nuts, and then motor mounts, and we should be out of here. Not too much longer, guys. Really not that difficult. Just a few things. The nicest thing is the electronics. That's my favorite thing about working on these, is that it's all captive to the motor. That's just so nice. Very nice of them to do that. Very nice. I think when it comes to the front motor mount, what we'll do is we'll probably undo it from everywhere. I think we'll take this bracket out, and then we'll probably take this front snout off, because we're going to need all the clearance we can get to get this past that torque converter and get it out of that housing. Okay, 12 mil in the back of the starter. You got a ground right here. You get the 12 mil in the back. That gets all this out of your way. Just tuck it up in here and try and keep it from flopping back on me. The process here, we've lost our 12 millimeter wrench. Do you know what we did with it, guys? Somebody's got to know. And then you just got a little excited wire that plugs into the back there. Then we should have a couple bolts, probably one right there. And my assumption is we got one down here somewhere. Yep, all the way down there. So probably get that one from the bottom. We'll raise the car up and get to that. And then we'll have the starter out of there. But now that I got the wires out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these heater core lines, get them off of here. And I might even loosen these 2 nuts on the top of these motor mounts. I think that'll release them. I think's. We'll see. I'm not sure. But we'll find out, won't we? And we'll find out together. What do you think? I like the idea. This is the world's longest bolt. If we were sitting there with a ratchet, we'd be here for an hour just doing that. Look at that. Goes all the way through everything. And it's got this little bracket on it. Set that up out of the way. I'll pull these 2 heater lines, and then we'll get the car up in the air, and I think the rest of it's all from the bottom. All right, you're gonna have a couple of bell housing bolts that are gonna be here. You got the one that goes through the starter up top we already took out. You got one on the same spot on the other side. And just follow the bell housing down. If you want to, you can remove this bracket. And you got another one right underneath that bracket there. That's the one we're working on right now. It's kind of underneath here. You gotta kind of feel for it. But just picture where it is. I'm gonna do this Ray Charles style. And these things are long, I will tell you. They're long bolts. I don't know where to put this. And there's another one. pretty much the same as the other one, so you don't have to worry about remembering where it went. We'll have another one on the other side. I think that's the lower starter bolt, and then I think the rest we get from the bottom. And I feel like we should be able to pull this motor mount from the top, if I recall. So we're gonna look at that and just make sure. We'll look at the new engine. Some models, you'll have a dog bone back here. I think the, I forget what the other models are. A lot of these are the same engine. They come out the same way, but you'll have a dog bone that goes up here and mounts, and you'll have to remove that. But if you're working on one of these guys, we don't have that. That's kind of nice. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at this right now. I don't even need to pull those rear mounts. Well, I'll be. I think we just got a front mount that we got pulled. Looks like those other ones go to the transmission. Ha! I like it. They made it easy. Should be nice if I could. Make my life a lot quicker. I like it. All right. What I found was with an extension, a wobbly, and a short 14, you can get around the CV axle. And if you want to come around this side, you can see right there. See that stud sticking out? We got one there, and we got one on this side, up in there behind the axle. So with a shorty and a wobbly, you're gonna need a wrench or a ratchet so you can break it free. You're probably gonna rip your hands open, but you can get it without pulling the axles. That's a plus. I might lose some skin, but you know what? I maintained my sanity. That's all that matters. Then we gotta find this last one, which is right up in here somewhere. Right there. Tuck back in there, you'll need an extension. You see where she's at back there. And that's gonna be the last one. So there's two down below, and what, 1, 2, 3, 4 from up above. And that'll be all your bell housing bolts. I think the starter's free. I haven't tried yet, but we got that bolt out. So starter should be free. I guess we can get up there and wiggle it. Yep. It's probably easier to take out from the top, I'm sure. We'll see if it'll come out the bottom though. It might. Or it might not. I don't know. It's much easier to take out the top though. I'll just tell you that right now. Because, yeah, we'll go back up out the top with it when we lower this thing down. And get the last bolt out. And I think the rest we do from up there. Okay. Perfect. We'll get some weight off of that. And then I'm going to pull these 4 down here. We're going to take the whole dang thing out just to get it all out of our way. I think it's the best way to do it. I don't really care if you agree with me or not, because that's the way we're going to do it. I'm only doing this because we got to pull. I can't access the torque converter bolts because this engine's locked up. Whew, this one is tight. Okay. Whew. Yep. All right, we're about ready to get the hoist in here. Take some weight off of this thing. And I'll pull this front mount out. We'll get the weight off. We'll pull the center bolt out. So it takes this front mount out. That'll give me access to these 3 bolts here, which I already loosened. And that'll let me pull the whole actual motor mount off of the engine. And we should be ready to separate. I think we've got it just about where we need it. I can't see anything else connected, hooked up, but when we pull it apart, we'll be careful. So you never know. Sometimes there's surprises. You don't want to pull against those surprises, you know. Then you end up with repairs, not just surprises. So we'll get this thing hooked up and get it out of here. And then should be good to go. I like it. All right, well, there's a hidden bolt we're going to show you. Let me just get this thing out of here, if I may. I'm in the process of getting ready to build a shop, by the way. And that'll make this life a lot easier. You know? Having space to do all this stuff. And we should get it right out of there. Perfect. All right, here's what I'm going to show you guys. There's one that is a little hidden, and I thought maybe it was a lower starter mount, but it wasn't. So you're going to have the two studs at the bottom, which is really nice. Obviously, yes, the torque converter's on. Told you guys 15 times this is locked up. But right below it is that bolt right there. Yep, that one. That was our culprit. That sits down here inside the housing. So you got your starter, the lower part right there, and it goes through right there. That's the one we didn't see. That was holding us up. But you know what? We now got it. It's out. And ain't nothing you can do about it, you know? So I'm happy. She's out of the hole. Ha! Now we got to figure out how to get all these torque converter bolts off. That's going to be a trick. There's one right there. I can get to that one right there. I can get to that one right there. That's going to be the fun one. I'm really not sure what we're going to do to get that, but whatever it is, we're going to do something. Either that or we're buying a new torque converter. But she's out. There's the hole. Really wasn't that bad. It was just that one stubborn hidden bolt that I didn't see for the bell housing. And I was assuming that that stud, there's a stud down here that's for the starter. I was assuming that was it. It's not. It really isn't. It's buried down next to it and down deeper. One bolt held me up. The rest of it, really quite simple, just removing stuff. So, basically it goes back in the same way it came out. We may show you that, may not, I don't know. But in case we don't, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. Tell us how dumb we are or how fantastic we are. Either way, don't matter to me. But yeah, ultimately the reality is I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. We love you all, and look forward to bringing you some more fun stuff. I want to announce one of our partners. We've shared with you on the last video in case you didn't see it. One of our partners here is Nectar. Nectar is an amazing company. They're out of San Diego. They do a fantastic job. The reason we can show these to you is these are caffeine free. These are not caffeine free, sorry, nicotine free pouches. They're your little lip pillows. Like your little, you know, the ones that have been out for a long time that have nicotine. These do not. This one here is actually watermelon. We're gonna get it all greasy. This one here is watermelon. Just pop one in. It's Focus. These actually help for a little bit of brain food and feed the brain a little bit with some B12, B6, a little bit of caffeine, a couple other little vitamins to help you out and feed the old noggin. So check them out, guys. Nectar, N-E-C-T-R. Nectar pouches. Check them out. Get you some. They're partners of ours. They're friends of ours. We love them, and you do too. Get you some. Check them out. My gold chain. Keep my shirt unbuttoned like this, but I can't do it one fingered or one handed even. Man, sitting over here like I belong with a gold chain on or something. Oh boy. What are you looking at? Why are you staring at me like that? I feel gross. It's hot. daughter's hair gets on my shop rags all the way out here. You know, live with 3 girls with long hair. Do it, I dare you. You'll find hair everywhere. And I mean everywhere. You're like, how did I get back there? Anyway, so, I'm telling you. Oh, what am I doing?
Interview.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. We can do that in a minute. Cool.